Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol hanshama hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol hanshama hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Feel free to sing along at home. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol hanshama hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol hanshama hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Kol hanshama. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol hanshama, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. All souls praise Yah, the holy life breath of all things. And we are broadcasting live on Wilderness Torah Virtual Village. This is Earth Torah Study. Good morning, Malka.
Hello, good morning, everybody. I am just getting set up here. Wanted to just introduce myself and everyone to this virtual village session. We're getting just set up on Facebook Live, so I apologize for the delay. My name is Malka. I'm the Community Programs and Logistics Manager with Wilderness Torah. In a response to these uncertain times and unfortunate cancellation of our Passover in the Desert Festival, we decided to take this energy and create a virtual village. As part of awakening the earth-based traditions of Judaism, Wilderness Torah creates village life during our immersive land-based festivals by uplifting and encouraging individuals' gifts of the collective community. 3 times a week in this virtual village, you'll learn with Wilderness Torah core community members who are sharing their gifts, as well as longtime stakeholders in the earth-based Jewish movement. Sessions will range in topics such as Torah study, nature connection, spirituality, and embodiment practices. As an organization whose mission is to awaken and celebrate earth-based Jewish traditions, we are really looking forward towards nature and asking questions like, what can this time teach us? Thank you all so much for being here with us. We're really excited to have you as part of our village. I'm going to put our website in the chat so you can follow along with more offerings that we'll be doing in the future. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce Jonathan. Magid Jonathan First is the founder of Derech Haaretz, Way of the Earth Outdoor Yeshiva, offering advanced training in Jewish outdoor skills and spirituality. He is a nature connection mentor, interfaith chant leader, Holocaust resistance educator, former part-time shepherd, and co-founder of the Jewish Collective. Jonathan is a Wilderness Torah senior mentor and serves as spiritual facilitator for Knesset Alev, Community of the Heart in San Francisco. where he has been teaching and leading services for more than 15 years. And we are so blessed to have him here today teaching this session. Over to you, Jonathan.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Malka, and thank you so much to Wilderness Torah for doing this. The offerings so far have been amazing. So I'm really feeling greatly honored to be here today. And I just want to ask folks, so glad that people are tuning in. Please go ahead and in the chat, go ahead and introduce yourself, put your name and where you're from, and one thing that you're grateful for today. It's really important to start off with gratitude, as one of my favorite rabbis, Rabbi Michael Shapiro says that blessings are like a helicopter. They're hovering, they're circling over the mountains looking for a place to land, and they need like a spot where the blessings can land. And that gratitude and joy are two ways to create a landing pad for it. So it's great if people would go out and would type into the chat box, if you click the chat at the bottom, and say what you're grateful for. Another great way to do that is, we have lots of people, what I'd love for everyone to do, if you can, is to start off by just going inside. Actually, I know I told you to type it, take one break, go inside, put your hands on your heart or somewhere in your body that feels right, and just take a breath. And look around, maybe see something out your window, something in nature or something in wherever you are that you enjoy, that gives you gratitude. And I'm noticing, wow, on that redwood tree, there's so many little birds hovering, waiting for the rains to start. And go ahead and whatever it is that's giving you gratitude, share it with everybody else with a body gesture. Make a body gesture that shows your gratitude. Yeah, either what it is or just the emotions that you have. And people can go on to this view, and it's so nice. You see people's hands moving and you see people's faces. Oh, and the birds, oh my gosh, they're flying right overhead right now. They just took off. Oh my gosh, it is amazing. It is amazing. There's so much happening out there. And it's happening in here too. We're so intimately connected. And what we're going to do today is we're going to read Torah, but we're going to not read a Torah in a book, because I have found it much more compelling, engaging, and meaningful for me to take this as my holy text than anything that has ever been written down. And the idea of Earth Torah study is that you can take whatever is happening in the moment around you right now, and everything you know is written down on the earth. In our tradition, the Torah, which just means teaching, it's not a scroll. What a Torah, there is the Torah Shebechtav, which is the written Torah. We also have Sheba al Peh, which is the oral Torah. It's said that in the time of Moshiach, a new Torah will be written, which will have one sentence from everybody's lives. And there's also, among the many Torot, there is the Torah Sheba Adamah, Sheba al Haaretz, the Torah of the earth. And the song we were singing, Hallelujah, 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 Hallelujah. If you know this, you can sing with me. Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Kol hanshama Hallelujah. Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Kol hanshama Hallelujah. Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Hallelujah, all voices praise Yah, the blessed life force. In the sacred text, Perek Shirah, verses of song, that poem, which is usually attributed to King David, is attributed to our friend the rat. Perek Shirah takes lines of Torah and Talmud and other places within our sacred writings, and it attributes them to the animals and to the plants and to the phenomena of nature, the wind or the sun. And it says, this is what they say. And it's said that if you study all of Perek Shirah, right, which is a fairly short book, then it is as if you had studied all of the written Torah, because all the knowledge that you need to do to learn is written within creation. So today we're going to do an introduction to a process that I've been doing for several years, started years ago at Chokhmat Halev, and since the shelter in place, I've been doing daily online of Earth Torah study. And if you want to join, you can go to derecharetz.org and there'll be information. It's at 10 o'clock, Sunday through Friday, except today, because today we're gifted to be doing this on the Wilderness Torah Virtual Village. And the idea is that we'll talk for a little bit, do a little bit of learning together, then we'll go out and sit for a period of time, 10 to 20 minutes. So at that point, you can turn and look out the window, or if you're able to, go outside, take a sit, come back and rejoin us. And then we'll go ahead and share what happened and apply some classical Pardes style Torah interpretation to what we observed. And I'll go over what that is later. But first, I want to just start with a blessing in these times where we're gifted to come together as community and have resources to come in so many ways, and that there are so many people suffering right now. I just want to send out a blessing of support and love and strength and healing to the native peoples of the lands where we live, the people who are indigenous to the lands where we live. I live out in Woodacre, with the land of the coast Miwok. People who've been tending the land for generation upon generations are still working to tend the land. God is willing, we'll be tending the land far into the future. And it's hitting, it's hitting many Native communities. It's particularly hard what's going on right now. And so I'd like to send out a prayer of love and gratitude and thanks to them. And if you know the name of the tribe or the indigenous people in your area, I'm going to unmute everyone just for a moment.
Okay, so you call in the number, which is the 669-900-9128.
Doesn't work. I'll invite you to type it into the chat. Go ahead and type into the chat the name of the peoples who are indigenous to your area, and you can send a blessing out to them as well. I see Ramaytush, Navajo, Odham, Diné. And so, yeah, so it's wonderful to hold this in our heart, because we, as a people who so long were in exile from our lands and who are dispersed among the globe and are so far away from our own indigenous ways, I think we in particular can really have a resonance with other indigenous people who've been disinherited of their land. And if we can come into an indigenous mindset and join with them from a place of indigenous solidarity rather than appropriation. And one way just to start that process is to acknowledge that we're on their lands. That's one small piece that we can do with that process. And the Torah of the Earth today is active. There's a chickadee right over there who's really got a lot to say. So just to give you a real quick introduction to the Pardes style of Torah learning, just so you have a little bit of context, is that there's this ancient way, and you should be able, hopefully you can see my screen right now. There's an ancient way of interpreting Torah on 4 levels. Pshat, which means the surface, remez, hints or allegory, drash, which is to seek or the lesson, and sod, the hidden mystical layer. And that makes an acronym Pardes, which is paradise. And so you start with just what happened, what is out there, what did I observe, what did I read? And normally that's like, okay, what is the text literally saying? How do you translate the text? What's literally on the page? When we're out there, it's literally what's happening. Oh, there was a bird on the tree that was talking to me. And maybe you can say, oh, it was a chickadee, but it's kind of nice if you remove the labels and just say, oh, there was a creature over there that was talking to me, or was saying something I interpreted was talking to me. And then I have my own internal reaction. My internal reaction to that is part of the field, because when we read the earth as our text, we're using our entire body and our emotions to do that. Then you kind of go into this, okay, what is that hinting at? The bird right there was saying something. It seemed to be pointing at me. It seemed to be talking to me. Huh, hints, all right? Maybe there's something that bird had to say. Look up. It is getting kind of cloudy. Maybe it was telling me it was raining, or maybe it knows something about the weather. And then lesson, drosh, seeking, what's the lesson here? You know, if in that moment I noticed, oh, you know, there was a drop of rain, then I might say, oh, the lesson here is that the birds know I can observe the birds, and the birds will be able to tell me something about the rains. And maybe even I can start to understand what kind of actions they're saying that will bring us to the rains, and then a hidden level of that. What's underneath that? What's a hidden level? Oh. They want to share. They want us to know something. They're not just saying these things for themselves, perhaps. Perhaps the animals want us to know what's going on as well. So that's just a little preview of where we're going to go. But for now, we're just going to stay at the shot. You know, lots of people, our instinct when we do interpretation is to jump ahead. I want to go right to the secret, the hidden mystical levels. Back up. We're going to stick just with shot, literally what's going on. And to help us with that, I want to help get us into a frame of mind and a frame of being where we can go ahead and be with the earth. A lot of times we go around with this very narrow kind of consciousness. Our vision is very limited. And when our vision is limited, we have a kind of seeking consciousness. We're reaching out with our eyes. We're trying to grasp what is here. And that constricts our mindset. They've done brain scan studies where people who are like using this kind of narrow vision are in a beta mindset. Oh, that was the first raindrop. Bird had something to tell me. Constrict, when you have that kind of narrow focus vision, it's very good for the linear kind of activities and tasks. It's also associated with beta brainwaves. Whereas, try this. Go ahead and make a little frame with your hands. You can do the holy priestly blessing sign, right? Let's say you were focusing blessings through the double Spock, as they say. If you can't make this, then you can just make a little triangle. Go ahead and make that sign. And first, okay, you can see all these people on the screen, perhaps. Maybe you can just beam a blessing to them. We all could use extra blessing. So just through that little portal, beam a blessing of health or whatever it is to everybody out there who's watching. Okay, focused attention is really useful in that way. But then what happens if we open the frame a little bit, right? What if we keep our eyes forward and take the frame so that the blessing frame is coming out to the edges of our peripheral vision? And if I start to lose where it is, I can just kind of wiggle my fingers just a little bit. And what if I relax and in this frame, I actually allow the blessings to pour into me? And what if I bring it back in? What if I focus a little bit more? Okay, now I'm looking directly at the screen, shake it out just a little bit. Okay, we're gonna try it again. Go ahead, focus some blessings. And then slowly, with your eyes forward, take your fingers to your peripheral vision. Begin to receive what's on the edges of your peripheral vision. Notice that instead of seeking what there is, there's so much, a wide world that just comes at you through your your eyes, through the edges of your eyes, your peripheral vision. You're turning on the parts that see movement, motion, low light. You might notice you can even let your hands gently fall and stay in this open attention, this mohin de gadlut, this great mind, which, you know, can take years and years of study to get to a place where you can hold the greater field of vision along with what's directly in front of you, this Kabbalistic technique. And some people spend years and spend thousands of dollars going to workshops, but actually, I start to lose it. I just raise my hands at the edge of my vision. I slow and I receive what's all around me. I receive Kabbalah. And I receive what there is to hear. I receive the smells. And I start to come into a slower consciousness. So the invitation in a few moments is for us to go out with this receptive consciousness. And don't worry if your receptivity comes in or comes out. In fact, it's good to be able to choose how wide a frame I want. Maybe I need to be a little bit narrow in. I don't want to be quite this narrow. Maybe I just want to be out here right now. The invitation will be to get ourselves into a greater mind, however big we want our mind to be able to be, and to walk out slowly into the world around us. Find ourselves a place, settle in, take in, receive what's happening. Kabbalah, receive what's happening. And then come back and slowly walk back out. A lot of people, when they're going and they're like, I'm gonna go and do a nature sit. And they like run or walk straight to their place and the birds scatter. And and the deer who are paying attention to the birds in order to know where the danger is, the deer perk up and they like hide and they go away. And it takes about 20 minutes for everybody to come back out to the party because the latest guest to the party didn't know the wild etiquette and just went through and was just scattering everybody by being this obnoxious party attender. You know, a lot of things that happen, people say that humans are bad animals. I don't think so. I think we just have bad etiquette a lot of the time. And if we learn to come into wild etiquette, then we actually come into a heart space where we can be co-creatures with the rest of everyone else here in creation. And then we can join nature's minyan. You know, they say in many cultures that when the birds sing in the morning and at night, they're saying their morning and evening prayers. They're singing their shacharit prayers and their Mariv prayers. And if we sit and we're in this receptive place, not as an observer or as someone who owns the place, but as someone who feels, oh my gosh, thank you for this invitation to join the minyan. Have you ever noticed when you're outside and you're singing, sometimes you're singing with a group of people and you stop and then all of a sudden you hear the birds singing louder than you did before? I find that happens all the time when I'm singing with people outside, especially when singing prayers. So when we go out, instead of, I'm gonna go out to my space, enter, before you even open your door, take a moment and pause. It's like you're about to open the door on high holidays to shul and you're late for services, right? Do you run right in and look for the right seat? No, you kind of suss it out. Where are things? Where does it feel to be? I know I was planning on going to that seat, but oh no, there's an elder over there. I'm gonna go over here instead. Go slowly. If your whole adventure is taking 7.5 minutes to get there, taking a minute, and then taking 7.5 minutes to get back, that's great. That's great. So I'm gonna just lead us one more time to get into that mindset. We'll go out slow. We'll go in peace. Tzedchem l'shalom. We'll return in peace, and then we'll share what happened with each other. If that sounds good, can folks give me a thumbs up? Folks are ready? Excellent. So, I invite you to take in a deep breath, let it out with a sigh. Let your eyes gently close. Take in another deep breath through your nose. Let it out slowly. Take a few deep breaths into your heart. Let yourself enter heart time. Let your breathing slow to the pace of the kind heart. Notice the subtle smells as you breathe in through your nose. Notice the subtle temperature differences from breathing in to breathing out. Notice the taste as you breathe in through your mouth. Notice a place in your body that you hadn't noticed before. Maybe a place that feels kind of nice or neutral. Notice when we slow down that we can hear the subtlest of sounds. Notice that when we relax our grip in our hands and our heads, and let our attention turn to our eyes and what we see through our eyes, our closed eyes, those shifting patterns. We don't have to seek for them. We can relax our eyes and let what's happening on the edges of our vision just enter the edges of our vision. Just receive that. Just let it in. And then very slowly, not yet, in a moment, we're going to let our eyes open, but we're not going to focus them. Open them slowly now. Let your eyes open like a newborn baby. A baby opening its eyes for the first time to the world, letting its vision stay soft, and just receiving what's there. And very slowly go out. We'll come back in 18 minutes, which will put us at 11:45. Enjoy. Go slow, come slow, and we'll reconvene and share.
But in order to do that, we're going to generate kind of a lot
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol hanshama hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol hanshama hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. So, welcome back from your time out reading the Torah as written in the earth and the sky today. And the blessing, you often say it before you read Torah, the blessing for reading Torah, for learning, Rucha atya shechina. You can repeat that after me if you like. Rucha atya shechina, Eloteinu uruach ha'olam, Eloteinu uruach ha'olam, asher kideshatnu, b'mitzvoteha v'tzivatnu, b'mitzvoteha v'tzivatnu, la'asok b'divrei Torah. La'asok b'divrei Torah. Blessings for the practice of engaging in the words or the things of Torah. So it doesn't have to be necessarily a word. So folks went out, and now I'd love for us all, if you want to turn on the gallery view, to take a moment, and we're going to share the pishat, the literal level of what happened through gesture, right? Having a cacophony of voices doesn't work so well on Zoom, but perhaps if you could take one moment, and if you were to kind of go back, what's one moment that stands out for you? Something that stands out in your mind that happened out there. And with your hands, make a gesture, show what happened. Show what happened with your hands. Make a little puppet show, right? Right? Oh, this is nice. And then what happened next? What happened next? And then, because you're part of the story, what was your response to that? Your internal emotional response or an idea that came to you? And show that and get your full body into it. I know, all right, sometimes it's embarrassing, but you're only a little square, so not many people are going to see you. And if you get your full body into it, you may actually, if I embody this thought I had, I may get a little bit closer to it. So now what we're going to do is folks will have an opportunity to, let's see, and maybe Malka, if you can go ahead and do this. Malka, I'm going to unmute you just to make sure. Folks are going to have an opportunity to get together with someone. You're going to have just about 5 minutes together in a room. So you're going to have the option to join a room, and you're going to be assigned at random with one other person. And you're going to share one sentence, "This happened," and another sentence, "and my response was," and then, what is this telling me? What's this hinting at? What maybe that might there be something that this is pointing me to? Some perhaps level of insight or some level of something I might have missed. And each person is going to have today, you know, this is an introduction. You'll have just like 2 minutes to share. So like, be kind, share the time, and then switch. Let your other partner say, and then if there's some more time, you can talk a little bit more. But Malka, would you go ahead and assign people?
Sure.
To you?
I'm working on it now. It'll take me just another moment.
Great. So you'll just click the button to accept, and you'll go to with your Chavrusa study partner. And then when it's 1 minute before it ends, you'll get like the 60-second countdown. So it looks like people are heading out.
All right, I'll send y'all out now.
Great, great. So go ahead and share just 2 minutes. This happened, my reaction was, and what is this hinting at? What is this telling me? For those of you who didn't join a room or who are watching the live stream, I'm just going to go ahead and share what I had. And Malka, in 3 minutes, can you click end session? And then people will have 1 more minute to wrap up. Excellent. So I was sitting and as often can happen, I got lost in my thoughts. And I was just sort of, starting to worry about this or that. And then a bird came flying up, that same chickadee, but it didn't come, actually. This was the thing. I noticed that my mind had gone into this place, and I noticed that my mind was focused, and I felt kind of trapped, and I went ahead and I went into this narrow place, and I made a narrow blessing. May all the beings here be well. And I opened the frame, and I opened the frame, and I opened the frame. And at that moment, that little chickadee that had been talking to me earlier, I think it was the same one, came bouncing through the trees. And it was like, oh, right. So that's hinting, right? That the moment that we open up, something special can happen. And then, if I'm to take that to the next level, to the drosh, what's the lesson? Oh, right. Every time I catch myself, when I get trapped in one of those places of thinking and narrow-mindedness, I'm not lost. When that happens, if I open up the viewfinder, oh, right. Nature is right here for me again. I'm right with nature, right back where it is. So that could be the drosh, that could be the lesson. And what could be the deeper lesson here? What might be a little secret there? And for me, for that moment, maybe the mind of Hashem is like that. Maybe Hashem itself, the nature of the universe is to constrict and to open, and to constrict and to open. And when there's a harsh, I like that, Amy, thank you. When there's a harshness coming in, what seems harsh, maybe it's like, blessings just need to come in directly focused. And it's like the light becomes like a focused laser. And then maybe when we open it up, more blessings can continue and happen. So welcome back, folks. And I'm wondering if there's someone who would just like to walk us through, if you can say like in 3 sentences, and it'll be the first person to unmute us, and then we'll just take your thing a little bit deeper. I noticed this, my reaction was that, and this is hinting at, this is telling me something. This is telling me X. So is there someone who would like to just unmute yourself and go ahead and share those 3 sentences? Pat, I think you need to unmute yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the old trees, and they were still thriving, the fruit trees. So being old, you can still thrive, I felt.
So that's what it's hinting at. Being old, you can still thrive. Nice. So if we're to take that one deeper, right? If that's hinting that being old, you can still thrive, then what might be a lesson that one might be able to get from that? You saw your trees You're realizing that being old, one can thrive. What's a lesson here? I'm going to unmute you again. Or if someone else also has an idea for a lesson, it's a Hebrew group, so it could be someone else.
What do you mean by a lesson specifically?
Gotcha. So I'll go ahead and give and demonstrate. So if we see the trees, right, and then we're reminded, oh yeah, if you're old, then you can still thrive, right? So perhaps there's a teaching here that when we perhaps think that, get into a mindset such as maybe I think, oh, I'm getting older, it's hard, right? If I look to nature, if I just look outside myself, I might see an example of someone in a situation parallel and notice something new that I didn't know before. Oh, it's still possible to thrive, right? And I might be able to learn from the tree. The tree might have something to teach me. The lesson actually might be the tree might have something to teach me about how to thrive well in old age or as I get older. Not saying you're in old age. But so there might be a lesson here.
So, sorry,
yeah.
I think that the lesson is that, well, there's two. First of all, fruit trees get better as they get older. They're more productive. They kind of go up and then they eventually need to be grafted onto another tree.
Mm.
That's one thing. And the other thing is that time is a construct and we're just part of it. So our bodies change, but we remain who we are. So the lesson is time is a construct. That's what came to me.
Nice. So thank you, Amy. And I'm just gonna show this little chart that I made. So what if one of the things that I noticed was in the nature connection work, there's this thing called the sacred questions in a tradition that's handed down through the lineage of Tom Brown Jr. It was handed by Stalking Wolf, his mentor, Lippin Apache. And there were sacred questions for how to interpret what happens in nature or in anywhere in life. What is happening? What happened? What is this telling me? What's the lesson here? And then what's the deeper lesson, or how can that benefit others? I noticed that it just parallels so well these 4 levels in Jewish interpretation of the surface level, the hints, then the dross, the lesson or the seeking or the hidden. So I love to be able to like kind of bring these 2 worlds together. And so the hidden, you don't have to take this to a mystic level necessarily, but you could say like, how could this benefit other? What is the deeper lesson? But what I kind of like is we actually got to a nice mystic thing, because if time is a construct, then the secret then may be another question, which is who constructed time? And if time is a construct, right? And if we're all constructing time ourselves and everything out here is on a different pace, then how can we co-construct a time that is life-giving? And I think one answer is by doing this kind of thing, coming together as people together and slowing down to nature's pace and sharing ourselves with the world. Slightly deeper level. So then you can so feel free to, let's see, if you go to the Derech Haaretz website and click on the Earth Torah study link, it'll take you to a page where I'll post this thing if you want. And there'll also be information about further Earth Torah study. If you'd like to join us, we're going from 10 to 11 Sunday through Friday. So you're very welcome to join us. I think we have a couple minutes after we do the official close if people want to talk or give feedback or ask questions about this process. But I really want to thank Wilderness Torah so much for hosting Earth Torah Study today. And thanks to Malka for making this happen, and Ben for making this happen, Ilana, who couldn't be here. Thank you, Zelig, for the whole overarching wonderfulness that is this community. And it's just such a blessing to be here. Enjoy this week of liberation as we go into the Festival of Liberation. And also, if you go to that page, there's going to be coming up some interesting thing on 50 days to Revolution Revelation. So check that out. Check out the Derech Haaretz page in a couple of days, and something cool activity coming up to take us through the Passover day. So I'm going to turn this back over to you, Malka. Thank you so much.
All right. Hi, everybody. Just want to say a big thank you for joining us today. Really grateful to be in virtual community with you all. I just put a link in the chat for anyone that wants to visit our website to see our upcoming schedule and more events that we're having in the virtual world. As well, putting your first, last, and email in there, or at the bottom of our virtual village link, you can sign right up for our newsletter, which is where we're posting our schedule as well. Our next session is going to be this Wednesday. It's called The Exodus from Patriarchy. It's an earth-based Jewish Passover conversation with Ophir, wonderful teacher and core community member of Wilderness Torah. It is on this same Zoom link, again, from 11 a.m. until noon Pacific time. It's going to be a really wonderful discussion, and we really hope you will join us. And a special thanks to Jonathan and Derech Haaretz for this amazing offering. We are so grateful to have you, and hope to see all of your faces on here again soon. Passing it back to you, Jonathan, for last words, and have a beautiful day, everyone.
All right. So, wow, may we all be blessed in our comings and our goings to be reminded of this wonderful greater Chevra group, this nature's minion, this minion of people, just as we gathered here today. May we see every being as part of our cohort, and may we be strong and support the cohort towards life, and may healing come swiftly, and may we be part of the great healing. And if you feel that way, go ahead and say amen. And if anybody has a comment or question and would like to unmute themselves, we have a couple moments. If anything stuck out for you, or you'd like something explained a little bit more. Now, sounds like people got it. All right. So if you do have a message that you'd like to send me, you can always email me at jonathan@derechhaaretz.org. Really appreciate folks being out here. And let's just end with a blessing. I'd love to unmute everybody, and we're all going to just make our own blessing for the world. We're going to say it at the same time. It'll be a wonderful cacophony of voices, just like being in synagogue with a bunch of people at the same time. And so let's see, there we go. I'm going to unmute everyone, and I'll just start us off by saying B'Shem Hashem, in the name of the Holy One. And what's your blessing for everyone? They all being shouted out.
There is abundance all around you. All you have to do is look in your very own backyard, literally. It's there waiting for you.
May we be in touch with the beauty of nature and with the beauty of all of us.
Yeah.
There is always silence to listen to and learn from.
Abundance is always around us.
Well, thanks so much, folks. Look forward to seeing you at the next virtual village gathering or online elsewhere. And thanks again, Malka. Really appreciate it.